All right, listeners. Well, it's been a minute, but this is an old friend of mine. I kind of look forward to this one. Sometimes when I do these interviews, I hardly know the people or something, but it's a lot more fun when you know somebody for a long time. And I don't know how long we've known each other. At least 10 years, I would think. What do
At
you think,
least
Jen?
10 years. At least 10 years. Yeah. We've had a lot of fun times together.
Yeah, yeah, we've been in a couple of different coaching groups and different things. I remember, well, I don't. Wait, the one I remember is, I mean, the furthest back that I can remember is the Microtel in Jasper, Georgia, at the alcohol tent
And also,
outside the.
all good friendships start at an alcohol tent.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That blew away. I think at one point,
It
didn't they have
did.
to the wind? It was like a storm or something came through. They had to put it
Yes.
back.
So that actually dates us back 14 years because that was
Wow.
before we had Jenna, and she just turned 13.
Oh wow, wow. So yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Long time.
I will say this, I've been a bunch of different coaching things, but I did like the alcohol tent. That was cool, man. Man,
That was
th-
fun.
that was a plus for that part of it. But yeah, it was always like a sort of a classroom part of it, and then the after hours, I guess, or whatever. But anyway, enough about that. Well, Jen, tell us a little bit about you for people who don't know you. I know you run a successful multi-inspector firm out of Richmond, Virginia, and successful family and all that good stuff. And our stories have kind of paralleled. I think you and Ray are a little bit younger than us, but I've watched your family grow up and everything. But anyway, I'll just let you explain it to people who haven't met you before.
Yeah, so I'm Jenn McMurdy. I own Capital Home Inspections alongside my husband, Ray McMurdy, and we've owned the business since 2004, so about 18 years. And we do home inspections and radon testing, and now indoor air quality testing. We do have a multi-inspector firm, and we love what we do. So yeah, we absolutely love it.
Awesome. So, how many inspectors do you guys have now?
We currently have three inspectors,
Three
and we're
inspectors.
always our motto is kind of that talent is everywhere. So we're always looking for new inspectors as we grow.
Okay, and you serve this Richmond area surrounding. About how far out do you sort of have it like a
I
like
guess
a,
we
a
go about
radius?
Yeah, I guess our radius is about 60 miles outside of Richmond, so about an hour. Richmond is not like other large cities where it's hard to get from point A to point B, and so it's pretty easy to kind of work our way around within the same day. So it's pretty easy.
Do you guys go to Petersburg or Fredericksburg at all, or is that too
Yeah, so we
far?
go up to Fredericksburg. We go down pretty much to Emporia, almost North Carolina. And then we go almost to Charlottesville, and we do go to pretty much to Williamsburg, but no
Oh,
farther
okay.
than that. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was in college, it's a long story, but anyway, my father was a mortician. He made caskets, and I used to about once or twice a month, I drove a truck to New York City with caskets. And I went right up 95, Petersburg, Richmond, right there, you go downtown, the freeway goes downtown and you go by, what is it? The Philip Meyer,
Philip Morris, yes,
Philip
which is
Morris. That's it. Yeah,
now
yeah.
it's Altria, but yes.
Oh, is it okay? And then Fredericksburg, and then you get on the outskirts of DC. But it's a long way when you leave that last town in North Carolina, which I think you leave Durham, you go it's going up 85. I think it's like Oxford or something like that. And then from there to Petersburg, it's like 120 miles of woods. I
Of
mean,
nothing.
nothing, nothing. I mean, and I'm a history buff too, and I think that's where the Battle of the Wilderness was, and it hasn't changed.
Yes, exactly the same. Ray's family is actually from Sunbury, North Carolina, which is it's literally like just a couple of miles over the Virginia North Carolina border. So, throughout the time of our relationship and marriage, we've made that drive many times. So,
Oh yeah, I'm so glad when I get to Petersburg. I'm like civilization.
however, we didn't ever make the ride with caskets.
Yeah.
So
Well, now there's XFM and all that, but back in those days, there was like no radio stations. I mean,
Yeah,
man, I'm like, I'm picking up some staticky Larry King interview from 20 years ago, and I'm happy to have it.
yes.
You know. But anyway, so tell us a couple of things. Lots of questions. Um, and the business has changed a lot since you and I first started. And obviously, pandemic, a lot of social unrest, all this stuff. How have you guys changed the way you do business, changed the way you marketed? Tell us about that. Like over the past, how many years you've been? Well, I know you've been in business at least 13, so
Yeah, 18 years, so a long
18 years.
time. And it's, yeah, it's changed quite a bit. I mean, when we started, there were still inspectors doing reports, on carbon copies. So that was way back in the day. So our reporting system has changed tremendously. Um, Obviously, you have to stay up to date with everything. But also just, the way that Ray and I have always done business has always remained the same. I mean, there's been a lot of, even though times have changed, there's been um, a lot of consistency with the way we've run our business and the way that we handle our team. And all of those things have stayed pretty consistent. And I think that that's what grounds us through all of those changes. Um, so for that part, a lot of that has stayed the same, but the way we do business has changed. Our marketing has changed tremendously. Obviously, we've had to, change with social media and, having a presence on social media and really communicating with a lot of people by social media. At first, it was just kind of marketing to real estate agents and stuff that way, but, we communicate with a lot of our clients through social media now. We get a ton of our business through social media, so it's really helpful and it's an extra tool that allows us to connect with people. And I'm all about connections, so I love that part of it. And then, obviously our team has grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk, and like all inspection companies. And so that's kind of been a little bit of some changes. And yeah, I mean, we've just been through a lot of different markets. It's interesting to me that the years in which there was the most, um, I guess I'll call it, like industry uncertainty. So like, back in 2006 to 2008, and then most recently during 2020, those have been some of our most successful years. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to me that sometimes the struggle comes right after. For us, that's been our experience. I don't know if it's a pattern, but you know, um, the years since the actual pandemic of 2020 have been more of a struggle for us than, you know actually 2020. I remember when the pandemic hit and Ray and I looked at each other and we were like, wow, how are we going to get through this, like most business owners did. And
Yeah, we were like, "Are those teaching certificates still good?" We were both teachers.
and so it was definitely a moment of panic there, and fear, but we try not to be fear driven. And so, we things were actually super busy for us during 2020 and really the first half of 2021. It wasn't really until the market changed again and people started waving and.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I hope you're getting value out of it. I'm sponsoring, I guess, myself. I'm not really selling anything, but hey man, I thought I'd just tell you about I do a little art on the side, PrestonSandlin.com. Check it out if you got some time. Kind of do some cool looking stuff, I think, but I understand that art is subjective. Also, I'll follow you back if you follow me on TikTok. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants on Instagram. We have two on Instagram, Inspector Crazy Pants and Home Inspection Carolina. We are also, Home Inspection Carolina on Facebook, and you can check out our website, homeinspectioncarolina.com. But you guys follow me, I'll follow you back. Comment, I'll try to comment back. I think it helps everybody's algorithm. So without further ado, I'll let you get back to the podcast. I just want to say I appreciate you listening, and hopefully we'll see each other sometime at a conference. Thanks a lot.
sections that we had to get a little bit creative, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in my
So
opinion, like no matter what's happening in the market, no matter what changes are happening, there are always ways to adapt. And to be perfectly honest, that's my favorite part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner is figuring it out, you know.
100%, 100%. So when 2020 and the pandemic hit, if we rewind, I remember it was like March. It was like the second week of March. I remember because my birthday is March 6th. And I remember on my birthday and my nephew was born and we're sitting there looking at the TV and, there was like a cruise ship that like they had quarantined and we're kind of like, hey, I wonder if that's going to come here. And then lo and behold, next week it was here and everything locked down. And that was March. And then I think April, wow, it just like we couldn't show houses here or the real estate agents. We were deemed essential, but we could only inspect for a month. Real estate agents couldn't show new houses. It was only deals that were in the pipeline. And fortunately, they did lift that, and we had the best May ever. But April was like, I was too. I was like, I don't know if we're going to survive this. I mean, literally, we built this company for all these years, and I didn't. If it continued, was it similar there? What was your situation like?
It was similar. I guess initially, and interestingly enough, I was on a cruise ship the last week of February with my
Oh,
90-year-old grandmother.
oh wow.
For her 90th birthday, we took her on a cruise, and she literally hugged every single person on that cruise ship. So when we got back to Virginia and realized that this was like a real pandemic and it was here and things were shutting down, I just counted my lucky stars that she was safe and that she didn't get sick because literally she hugged every person on the cruise ship. But in terms of business, it was the same. There was this initial moment of panic, I think, for every person who does any kind of business, whether it's a real estate agent or a home inspector or somebody who does mortgages, anybody in any industry really, not just real estate. And so there was that pause. But I think because everyone was paused, it wasn't really as impactful. But then thereafter, you're right. There was about a month where things we weren't quite sure. We actually had business coming in, but we weren't sure how to conduct business. We weren't sure what was safe, how to keep our employees safe, how to keep our clients safe, how to keep our real estate agents safe. Everybody, our inspectors, their families were very nervous. I felt like our industry was one that even though we were deemed essential, it's a little different when if you have to go into an office versus going into the homes of hundreds of people a year and touching every surface in their home, and
Right.
being exposed to all of the people who are then at home and not able to go to work or school. So I was mostly concerned for our team at that time. And we worked through it. We got the masks, we got the necessary safety gear that we needed, and we moved forward as best we could.
Yeah, same thing. And I was contemplating, I was like asking Meg, how much money do we have in savings and stuff? And I was trying to think like, could I give some to my inspectors just to keep them on life support till this thing blows over? And fortunately, May came back and we had the best month ever. And what's crazy, we have our annual meeting. It was coming up and we put it off for like a year and a half until, the thing finally subsided or, it wasn't as big one. So then we have our annual meeting and 4 people caught COVID
Mhm.
right after that.
Yeah, I was just
So
gonna say we just started having in-person events and meetings in 2022, but 20 January of 22 was probably the roughest month because we had inspectors get COVID that their families caught COVID first, and so they were out because they had been exposed and their family members had it. Then the daughter would get it, then the son would get it, then the inspector got it, and so it was 4 weeks of that inspector being out of work. And it was really rough having inspectors out when you have the business coming in. It's just really tough.
yeah, no, 100% with you. So you mentioned, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know we came from some of the similar coaching. I imagine prior to the pandemic, you did a lot of like marketing offices, presentations, maybe candy bowls or not. I know that we came from some preaching of that. But then all that shut down. Uh, and you mentioned, social media. When you say that, I want to drill a little bit deeper in that. And we all kind of had to learn to adjust. Which social media and like, what do you try to do? Do you have interactions? Do you have posts? Do you do it, or do you have somebody do it? What's that look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we kind of adapt to things as they come, but I would say that the majority of our social media is done through Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
We have a presence on Twitter. We do not have a presence on TikTok, but we do have Facebook and Instagram, and that's really where we've seen the most reach to our local community. We're really, we really want to. That's who we want to connect with. I think TikTok. You sure you can get a super big following on TikTok and have it be a little bit of an ego boost for you. But I don't know how much of, in terms of like gaining followers and stuff, I think it's cool. But I think that, and I think
We're
they're
very
fun to watch. I
localized
love to watch
business.
them. But I don't know how much it really builds your business. I mean, maybe it does. And for those that it's worked for, I think that's awesome. But for us, the connections on Facebook and Instagram are really the most. We do a lot of um, events with local real estate agents like all inspection companies do, but one that's a little bit unique to us are our field trips. We do field trips with local agencies where we'll meet them at one of their listings. It's usually 10 to 12 agents. We do some pastries and some mimosas. Everybody loves the mimosas. And,
Oh yeah.
and they have FaceTime with an inspector, and the inspector takes them around the outside of the house, explains some things to them. I mean, really, it's like, what is a heat pump? It's like really simple, basic things that a lot of real estate agents have no idea about, and they want to. They want to have that understanding. And it gives us an opportunity with a smaller group to have that connection, that FaceTime. Um, and then we use social media like to, spread awareness about those events. We use the video that we take at those events on Facebook and on Instagram, and then all of the agencies want to participate, and so it really kind of helps build our business in that way. I also use Facebook mainly to keep up with what's going on in other people's lives, and that sounds super basic, but I mean, we are a very small business and we like to keep those connections hyper local. And so when I see somebody has a grandchild, I'm going to send them a card. If their dog dies, I'm going to reach out. That's how we kind of keep those relationships going. And it's our I would say our growth team that handles all of that. And so we kind of, Colleen, who does, she handles most of our marketing, and she kind of runs things on that end of things. And she has a schedule. I don't really know what she does because she does it way better than I do. But she has a whole schedule of when everything gets pushed out. And she's really good about being I think the biggest thing with social media is consistency. People
Yeah.
need to see you. One of the most fun things we've done over the past years, we had gifts made of all of our inspectors. And we use those and plug those stickers on to all of our social media posts. We do a lot of stories and reels on Facebook and Instagram, which definitely keeps you more current if you're like hesitant about going the TikTok route, but you want to do something that's more than just a Facebook post. I mean, we hardly really do Facebook posts. We really are doing stories and reels. And that keeps you way more current, and I think gives you a lot more visibility. And then in addition to that, we also have a private Facebook group, a rating fans page for
Nice.
all of our top agents. And we push a lot of information out there that we don't put out to the general public. So
Awesome. I have so many questions in so many different directions. So what and maybe advice for people who want to get into reels and stories. What type of content? What do you guys put out there? What seems to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak?
yeah, I mean, I think people just want to see what your life is like. People want to see what you're doing. And so we do not limit what we post to just, business and heat pumps. You know, um,
I'm
if
more than just heat pumps.
if our inspector's kid takes, their first steps, like, we're going to make a reel of it and put it out there. Obviously some inspectors want that stuff out there and some don't, but most of them are perfectly comfortable with it. And so I'd say, like, really making sure that you're, being a human being and giving other people opportunities to connect with you in ways other than just home inspections. So there's that. And then any new stuff that you're doing, I think people want to know about it. It's a great way to get it out there. And so, Colleen will go on inspections with our guys, especially if it's a vacant home. In our area, I think it's a little bit unique because we don't have century lock access. And so real estate agents are present at all of our inspections, and clients are present at most of our inspections. So we are few and far between where we have those inspections that a lot of other inspection companies in other areas have, where they can just show up and, like, get the job done and leave. We have people there, so a lot of times we have to be careful. But if we have a vacant home and the client or the agent's going to come unlock for us, or it's a 1-year home warranty inspection, Colleen will go and do some video of some of the things they're doing and have the inspector explain what they're doing. And honestly, people don't want to know the complicated stuff. People want to know, like, how you're checking a microwave, or, like, loose rails, like, like, very, very basic stuff people are very interested in. So,
Yeah, and I always tell my guys, and I have to remind myself, what may seem basic to you or boring to you may not be to them. It probably isn't. It's like, think about their job. There's the same thing, probably something that's basic or boring to them. You don't know what they do on a day-to-day basis. So, just the little stuff. You mentioned a home warranty inspection. And I know from talking to you before, you have this brilliant marketing way to get some of those, where you have such a great close rate, or return on that. Would it be asking you too much to share that with the listeners?
that's a trade secret,
All
Preston. No, no. I'm always
right,
I'm
if anybody's in Richmond, you can't do this.
I'm always an open book, and I'm happy to share. So, and I always, like, one of my philosophies is just, to come from a place of abundance and sharing, as opposed to, you know, being fearful that there's just not enough, and from a place of scarcity. So, that's one of my life philosophies. So I'm always happy to share. And so, yeah, one of the ways that we've had to grow our business is through 1-year home warranty inspections. And we're in an area that happens to have a ton of new construction. And so I can't really give you the ins and outs of how it's done, because Colleen is in charge of it, and she is hyper specific and great at creating spreadsheets and doing research. And I'm happy for any inspection company out there, even our local competitors. If they want to call, I'd be happy to hook them up with Colleen to have a conversation about it, and she can give the details as to how we do it. But essentially, what we do is we visit new neighborhoods, and we deliver a little treat to them. Along with a postcard with a coupon, and we just drop those little treat bags off at the houses in those new neighborhoods. And we usually do streets at a time. So we might have, and usually our radon technician, in order to get some extra hours, he'll pick up some shifts to go deliver the treat bags, or our teenagers want extra money, and so we all have teenagers, so we'll be like, who wants to deliver? And so they'll go to those neighborhoods. We use something called Optimo Route, which is an
Mhm.
app and a program it's a paid for program, and she's able to import spreadsheet data directly into it, and it creates the most opportune route that uses the least amount of miles, and that least amount of time and least amount of tolls and all that stuff. And then they can bring it up, whoever's running that route can bring it up on their phone, and they utilize Optimo Route to go make the deliveries of the treat bags. So it's not all in one neighborhood, they're going around to multiple different neighborhoods. We do try to, like, limit it to, like, whether they're West End or South Side or what part of town it is, just to limit the amount of driving. But it's produced amazing, results. in
Yeah,
addition to
what's the saying? It's something smart. Don't be a smart cookie or something. Do you remember?
yeah,
It's
it's I wish I had one of them around me, but I
it's
don't.
something. Be a
But it's
smart cookie.
be a smart cookie like your neighbors and get a 1 year home warranty inspection. I mean, you can really do any of those kitschy little, sayings. I've seen a lot of cute ones done with candy bars. We definitely saw the idea, not this idea from another home inspection company, but we saw this idea from another vendor, a mortgage vendor that was marketing to clients.
Probably
And
refinancing
yeah,
or
something.
something.
And it
Yeah.
was like, be smart this. And they used Smarties, and I think it was the candy, which is super cheap candy. But we use like really good cookies, and yeah, we do be a smart cookie. And it gets, I mean, people call and they're like, we love the cookies, and
Yeah. Well,
and
in another little point here to all the listeners, if you do a brand new construction house, make sure you have some type of reminder or follow up. That should be two inspections. That should be that inspection, and then the warranty. Warranty runs out in a year, so around 10 months or something
yeah,
automated or
we
something
run,
that reminds.
Colleen has a system for that too, if anybody needed that. But I mean, she runs those reports monthly of any, new construction inspections that we do to follow up at the 10-month mark. We send out emails, we send out texts, and we have a good rate of response for that as well, because you already have a relationship with those clients.
Awesome. Well, I want to switch gears on you here for a minute, Jen, and you mentioned something about your radon tech, and that was where I was kind of going with this. I have a personal question for you, because we're sort of all right. So I think if I remember, you do home inspections, air quality, radon, just like us. We do all those, and I just took the sewer class. I actually just got my sewer scope. It just came right before this. I got it out. I'm charging it. We'll see how that goes. I want to play with it. I took the class. I want to implement that. But my question to you is here, we have a dilemma where it's like we have a lot of inspectors, and it's like, do we get, and we've got some inspectors been with us. I mean, one today was his 12-year anniversary, and we love all these guys, but some guys just don't want to do anything new. And some guys do. Do we go the route where, we want the inspectors to do all this, or do we hire, somebody to do the radon, the septic, that sort of thing? So what say you guys? Do you have each inspector do each thing, or do you have somebody go around and just do the ancillary services? And
Yes.
there's two schools of thoughts on this, because I've actually talked to I talked to oh, who's our butt Ruben up in he has a guy that goes around and does it, but then he said, if I talk to Brian and Brian, they want each guy to be able to do it. So I mean, there's two schools of thought. So what do you say?
So I say, I'm going to say Ray's favorite saying, which is that it depends.
You
And that's
can
everyone's.
tell you're close to Washington D.C. No, I'm just kidding.
So, we've done it a couple of different ways, and right now it's just kind of this mixture. So, and it's hard because you don't know whether you're going to be able to drop off radon before the inspection. If it's a last minute booking, then are you going to have to pick it up after the inspection? We are able to use Century Connect access to drop off and pick up radon monitors. So that gives us a little bit of leverage. But in our area, we have a local, our Virginia Department of Regulation, that is, Virginia Department of Health that regulates everything. I mean, there's really no regulation on radon technicians or anything like that. But
Same here.
they like to think that there is, and so they're always coming after home inspection companies. And so we really have to dot our I's and cross our T's. So all of our home inspectors are certified through National Radon Safety Board, as am I. And we are all radon technicians. Ray is a radon specialist. You have to have somebody in your company that's a specialist, and others that are technicians. And so it is an extra expense, to pay for the membership for your guys to have that, as well as the continuing ed. But it does give you a leg up because most companies do not do that. And so we recently did hire a radon technician. And so our goal is to drop off radon monitors prior to the inspection and let
Right, right.
inspectors pick them up. But even for pickup, whether they're dropping off or picking up, I mean, Virginia Department of Health is watching, watching, watching. And so we are all certified through National Radon Safety Board and will continue to be, because of our specific state situation. But I think that if we didn't have that to contend with, then we may do it differently. We may just have a radon technician that does all the drop offs and all the pickups. I think it's how much ancillary business you do. Now that we're doing indoor air quality testing, it's certainly another opportunity for that person
Do
to.
they each inspector have their own test and everything?
Yeah, so with the indoor air quality testing, yes. With the radon monitors, I mean, we have almost 20. I think we have 20 something radon monitors, and we use continuous radon monitors, and so that's a full-time job in and of itself as
Oh
well.
my gosh, yeah, and I'm sure we've lost a few.
Yeah, we have a pretty detailed spreadsheet where we keep track of everything and make sure all the calibrations are up to
I,
date, and we have
I'm getting close to putting Apple AirTags, like figuring out a way to put them inside somehow to like. I'm really thinking about that. And what stinks too, we had those Sun nuclear ones, and of course they're like discontinuing that one model, and that's why you see everybody selling them all over the place, and they're not.
Yeah,
So we had to sell a bunch, or well, they traded in and gave us $250. On something that we paid $900 for.
right,
That's
right.
generous of you. Give you $250 towards your new $1,200 machine.
But
But
we do a lot of radon business. I think it's 68% of our home inspections also do radon testing. So we do quite a bit of radon testing.
yeah, our dilemma, and not to make it about me, but our dilemma is, we're right here on the state line. So we're in North Carolina and South Carolina. So we have to be licensed, or the guys have to be licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina for home inspection and pest control. And then, doing radon, well, sept. And so when you get a certain number of guys, what inevitably happens is this guy can do this, this, and this, but can't do that. And this guy can do this, this, and that, but can't do that. And then it's like, oh my God. And you're trying to schedule stuff and it just, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and the bad
So I
thing
mean,
was
I think the benefit though is that you have like 20 something inspectors, so that's awesome. But then it is a lot. I always try to think with every decision we make, like, is this scalable? Can we continue to hire and grow and do this
right.
regardless? And I try to do that when we make decisions about how we're paying our inspectors for different ancillary services, and how we're adding equipment and who has that equipment. It's an important thing to think about, because otherwise you're growing, growing, growing. That's happened to us in the past, where we've grown and then we realize, like, wow, we cannot grow like this. Like, this is not
Um,
profitable and this does not make sense. And so then we've had to kind of backtrack, and, like, it's just part of the business.
Yeah, and then the other part of that too is, and I've said this a million times, there's two ways to make more money in this business. Do more inspections or offer more value per inspection. Sewer, radon, all that. I hate to say, you charge more, but you do. I mean, but you're offering more value. I mean, so then you go from a $400 or $500 inspection to an $800 $900 inspection, but it's value. So, and in that case, it's kind of like I want everybody to be trained up in everything, because to me, one, like if you did one inspection that was $1,200 because you did everything, is better than three inspections where you did, $400 inspections
Mhm.
in my mind, because of the driving for the three, and then liability for, three different houses versus one. And some folks worry about the liability, including my own guys. And I just took that sewer class, and a lot of people too. And we did when we didn't start doing air quality till a couple of years ago, and a lot of guys were worried about the liability. And the honest truth is, I think it's less liability. And here's why I think that: because now that you offer that, and you offer that to everyone who calls, if they decide not to do that, then in my mind, and then they have that problem later on, but you can prove that they were offered and they turned it down.
They had the
Then,
opportunity. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I think of it as almost a defensive thing. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I don't want to, you know, I just don't, I don't tend to worry that much about the liability side of things. I mean, I do as a business owner, I think about it, we process things and we make decisions, but I try to make decisions like quickly and then move forward and not, I'm just not super, I just try not to work from a place of fear ever. And so I try not to make decisions based on that. I do think it's better service to be able to provide more options for your clients. And so I think that's a great thing. But I do, as we add additional ancillary services, I do worry about like the cost per inspection, and clients. I started packaging things together recently, and the inspection came up to like $1,800 with everything that was packaged in, and I was like, wow, is somebody? I mean, that's a different price point than a person who's calling and scheduling a $475 inspection. And when you've been in business for a long time and you have realtors who are like, oh, their starting price point is 375 or $400, and then they're calling and they're like, why is my client's inspection $1,200? And you're like, well, it's a 6,000 square foot house and there's a detached 2-car garage, and they elected to have radon testing, and there's a crawl space and a slab, and so they have to have 2 monitors, and you start adding up all of these things, it makes sense as to why. But I think that whenever you're offering something, you always naturally reduce your liability.
Right. And you know what? I totally get what you're saying. And I've heard that said, it drives me crazy, like you're too expensive, da da da. But between me and you, home inspectors, in another room full of home inspectors, that inspection should be $1,800. All inspections should be over $1,000. I mean, for the amount of liability we're taking, I mean, my gosh, $400? Are you kidding me? I mean, I always say this, like in the real estate transaction, and realtors work hard. I'm not knocking realtors, but they get 3%, 6% if they're on both sides, and they earn it. I'm not knocking that. The loan person gets 1%, and you add that up, that's quite a bit. Now, my point is, in the entire transaction, we make the least amount of money, but take
Yes,
on the most liability.
the most liability. I know. And not only that, I always say, like, home inspectors are expected to be like near perfect, not miss anything, while they typically have like 2 or more people talking to them and distracting them when they're supposed to be doing something that's highly detail oriented. And they're supposed to have it done faster than anybody like can blink an eye. I mean, oftentimes our inspectors will arrive at an inspection, and the client's telling them all the things that they want them to look at, and then the seller's getting ready to leave and they're pointing out all the things they've done to improve the house, and then the real estate agent shows up and they want to explain to them things that they've seen, and then all of a sudden the inspection was scheduled for 2 o'clock and it's 2:45, and they're like, well, I haven't even started yet. And so there's all that. It's hard to manage those expectations as a home inspector and get done quickly and not miss anything, and know that
100%,
you're shouldering all of that liability for
$100.
$375. I mean, it's just not happening. So I agree. I think that we provide a lot of value in this industry, and it definitely needs to be looked at as to how that's being
100%. And
performed.
the other thing is too, and I mean, I don't mean to go. I don't want to. We're positive people, and I know it seems like we're kind of being negative now, but think about this too. To any inspector who's listening or watching this, think about the price of everything. I mean, the price of gas has pretty much doubled in the past 2 years. I mean, the cost of milk, everything, and honestly, the cost of inspections have not really risen. We should
Well,
change
ours
that.
have. Ours
Have
have,
they?
because I will tell you about 3 months ago, the exact same thing. I mean, obviously gas prices were through the roof, and I went to Costco, and my normal Costco, is like $300, 375, and it was like six something, and I was like,
Woo!
hmm. And my normal salmon that I get that was like $25 for
Oh,
the
we get that same
slab,
salmon.
it's $48,
Oh
and
my
so
gosh. Yeah,
I
we
was
usually
like,
get it was like $20. It
yeah,
would
and
feed four of
I mean,
us.
I am not a cheap person. I'm willing to spend money on food and whatever. And I was like, this is crazy. And on the way home that day, I said, I'm raising our prices because this is crazy. Like literally all of our vendors have raised their prices. All of like our insurance and
Oh my
I mean, even
gosh.
just getting radon monitors calibrated to ship the radon monitors. I mean, you do have to think about every single thing that, even if we're buying, a box of koozies, for a trade show or whatever. I mean, all of these things have increased. Our cell phone bills have increased. Just purchasing the cell phones have increased. I mean, every single thing
Workman's
has
comp,
increased.
man, our stupid workman's comp has gone up like 3 times. They audited us, because all they want to do is audit you and then charge you more money. Then they audited us again, and then like I feel like it's a bait and switch. You wanted my business, you got it, and then as soon as you got me in, it was like, oh, let me audit you. How much business you do? Let me charge you more. And I was like, oh, I'm so mad about that. But
And I
sorry.
think the difference is that other parties in the real estate transaction do get paid by a percentage. So if you think about it, real estate agents who are making 3 or 6% possibly, and the prices of houses have dramatically increased.
Oh
So their commissions have gone up quite a bit along with all of their expenses, but that's kind of equal. It's apple to apple. Whereas if our prices are staying the same, but all of our costs as business owners are going up, then that's not really apples to apples. We need to increase our prices. We don't really have a choice. And the other day I scheduled an inspection, and it was over $700, and that was I think maybe they added radon. And the guy was like, I can't believe a home inspection is this amount of money. And I just said to him, everything else in your life has gone up in price. And like, there's no way for us as small business owners to not increase our prices. So we have to keep up with that just like everybody else does. And he was like, thank you for explaining that to me. That makes sense. And so I think people understand. People just don't, they just don't realize that we have to sustain ourselves too. So I think it's important
100%.
to do that.
100%. Well, let's have some fun, and then I'll get you off here because I know you got a lot to do. All right, you ready for the lightning round?
Yep.
All
Let's
right,
go.
so I'm going to give you this or that, and you choose: Christmas Vacation or Elf.
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation. Animal House or Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Celebrity Crush. It could have been way before Ray.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
All right, all right.
Let's see. Are you dog or cat?
Dog.
Phone call or text?
Text.
iOS or Android?
I mean, is there a question? iOS.
I'm the only Android user in my house and PC user. Everybody else in my house is iOS, MacBook. I'm the holdout.
Yeah, Ray has like, regular laptop, and I have my MacBook. And
Oh yeah, next Mac.
anytime
All the
anything
kids are
goes
Mac.
wrong with either one of our computers, I'm like, I'm gonna go get my Mac.
Well, it's funny. We'll be somewhere and she's like, do this on my computer. I'm like, I don't even know how to use your computer. You have to do like 2 fingers on it or something. I don't even know. I don't speak Apple. All right. Big party or small gathering?
Both. I like big party, I guess.
Big party. All right. What's worse to do, laundry or dishes?
Dishes.
Tennis shoes or flip flops?
Flip flops.
Most important in someone you work with, or intelligent or funny?
Intelligent.
Okay. Let me see. I got a couple more here. Amusement. Would you rather go to a theme park or go to the beach?
Beach.
Most important one. Well, before we get to that, coffee hot or ice? Ice or hot coffee?
I mean, hot.
Me too. I'm with you on that one. I'm not tracking with you on the iOS, but I'm tracking with you on that one. And the most important one, the toilet paper, over or under, beard or mullet?
Over.
Over. Almost everybody says over, but one person said under because they say the cat will
Oh
if
yeah, but
it's
I'm a dog person, so that's not an issue for me.
there you go, there you go. Well, last fun question. What's the most craziest, and I know I asked you this before, but it's been probably 7 years or so, of all capital inspection, Ray, all the guys you got. What's the craziest story? And you can change the names to protect the guilty. Craziest weirdest thing you found or just funniest story? Just, I mean, if we were sitting at a, in the bar at the, are we in the alcohol tent after the conference? They're like, what's the craziest story you got with your home inspection or craziest thing they found?
So many, so many, so many. I would say the craziest thing is probably Ray went to go do a new construction inspection, and the residents of the home had been just sick and didn't really know what was going on. And Ray went underneath the house, and as soon as he opened the crawl space door, the entire crawl space was filled with sewage. And the builder, who I will not name, track builder here in Richmond, did not connect the sewage lines. And so,
How
yeah,
long had they lived there?
for 10 months. It was a 1 year home warranty inspection.
Oh my
So
gosh.
Ray passed out and then went back inside and explained to them what he saw. And, there was a remediation company out there within 10 minutes, and they moved to a hotel and had the home fixed. So that's probably the most disgusting. The scariest thing, I will tell you one more real quick, is that um, another one that Ray did, that went to the crawl space, and while he was in the crawl space, there was a door like in the ground, and he opened it, and there was like a hidden room that had been dug into the crawl space that was walled off with plywood, and there were children's toys down there. It was
Oh,
creepy. And so it looked like it might have been used for storage, but it had like a light down there and some blankets. And so we obviously contacted the Richmond City Police Department and reported it. But it was that, I would say, is like the creepiest thing that we've ever found. That was just, it still gives me chills to this day to think about it. And we tried to follow up to find out, but they wouldn't tell us anything. But that by far is the thing that makes like the hair stand up on the back of my my back,
wow.
like thinking about it.
Something very similar. I had to do it. It was a termite inspection only. Thank goodness, because this house. So I went out to this house. It's kind of like your first thing there. I was just doing a termite inspection, and I went out there, and it was. I mean, it was an older house, and it had like an addition or two on it, and I could tell they were running some type of business out of there. And I finally figured it out. I saw them coming out. It was like the food truck. These food trucks that go to construction sites, not like the food truck, like the real hip thing, more like the one that just goes to construction sites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were running that business out of here, multiple trucks. I guess they had beefed up the kitchen, whatever. I wasn't doing the home inspection. I was just doing the termite inspection. So anyway, I crawl under there and it was an old house and it was icky and all that. And I crawl up and it was a rat and, great. I don't know who does the sanitation grade on this, but there was this huge, like all through the middle of the crawl space was like this substance. And it was like, it, it was just almost like a pool of this substance, but it was like, it was congealed. It was gelled. And I got it on my foot. And I didn't realize it at first. And I honestly could not figure out what it was at first. I was like, what the heck? I mean, it wasn't like anything. And I felt it and it was kind of white and it was gelled. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I was going through, my whole thing, like, is this a fungus? What is this? You know what it was? Was they were cooking all this stuff in the grease. They were just pouring the grease down. That was basically like Crisco, like nasty congealed grease, fat.
Wow.
And I put it on the termite report and everything. And I thought, my God, if this thing ever caught on fire, I mean, that was just horrible. I mean, I don't know how many, I mean, it was, a pretty big house in the crawl space and just, I mean, it was a ton. It was several years ago, but it was just filled with congealed grease that they had just been pouring down into the crawl space, I guess,
So
from
bizarre.
cooking or whatever.
So
So
bizarre. We definitely have an industry where we see some really crazy things.
nasty, nasty. But anyway, well, I won't hold you up any longer, Jen. Thank you so much for all the folks. I mean, I'm sorry. I want to thank you for all the folks that got value from you. And all everybody out there listening, I want you to go like her Facebook page, like her, give her some likes. So tell us where all your properties are, your Instagram, Facebook, so we can like you, follow you, and help you out. So how can they find all those?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, all the things, Twitter.
What's the, is it Capital Inspections? What's
Yeah,
it?
capital inspections. And then it's Inspect RVA is our Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. So go out there and look up Capital Inspections, follow her, give her some likes. She gave a ton of value here, so I think that might help her a little bit in the, what do you call that, the rankings or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a
Yeah,
real big web guy, but I know if you have more likes and follows and all that stuff, it helps. Also, if somebody wanted to follow up with you, don't give your cell number out. Somebody did that, but could they contact you through your website, or
they
is
can
it is
contact us through our website. It's richmondinspector.com. Or they could reach out to me via Facebook. They could send me a message. I check my messages for the, like, in the hidden box where people that I'm not friends with often. So they could message me, and I'd be more than happy to help in whatever way we can. And Preston, thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. I love talking to you as much as I can and hanging out with you. And I appreciate you having me.
awesome, awesome. Um, and we'll see each other here in a couple of days, so we'll have to have a beer or three.
Yes.